This is the website that helps you to handle change, Reframe New Zealand. And in this issue, I'm going to show you how the online tool that we've developed helps you to handle change by analysing it. Analysing change. Usually we talk about whether the change occurred in the past, what was, or whether it is yet to happen, what will be going to happen. One, a forward-facing expectation towards the future. One, past expectation, each with their own sets of emotions that are typical of that perspective. The 7 areas, just to refresh you again, of engaging change: response, agreement, alternatives, understanding, control or blame, responsibility, priorities, feedback. And the steps for resolution in Reframe involve describing what's happened, in other words, what you're upset about, anchoring that in terms of what role you were in when you were upset, mapping the expectations of change, mapping your experience of change, analysing and picking out which area of change was the most upsetting, and working a strategy on how to manage that HOT Quadrant. And lastly, with Reframe, you can actually test your plan before you go out and try it. First of all, you'll type your name in when you enter into the Analyser. Secondly, it will expect you to state the current issue in one sentence and identify your not okay feelings. You'll notice there's a click here link there, which will bring up a lot of visual clues to help you put your emotions into words. But you'll enter in what you're upset about, Fred breaking his promise, and lastly, some idea of the feelings or impact it's made upon you: angry, frustrated, irritable. You'll choose the priority level of this issue in terms of the important and urgent, and you'll rate the level of upset. In other words, what level of impact did this upset make upon you? And so you'll choose one of the 4 states there, indicated by important and urgent. In other words, that's the top priority. Important but not urgent is the second priority. Urgent but not important is the third priority. Not important and not urgent is the 4th priority. You might say, well, what am I doing here? And then you'll choose your level of upset, and you'll see down there it gives a scale of 0 to 10 or 1 to 10, and number 10 is the most upset you can be. Choose that level. Then you'll select from the Consumer Supplier Analyser just exactly which role you were in and which time frame or perspective you had, whether you're looking forward to the future or looking to the past. This influences which set of questions you are asked by the online analyzer. And then, of course, you will then be required to select in all 7 one of 3 choices for each of the expectations, whether or not it's an unusual response you were expecting, a usual response, or whether it's not applicable or you're not aware. Then you'll talk about agreement, then alternatives. You'll go through all 7, and you have to make a choice of one of the 3, and on this particular case you're looking at what you were expecting before the event. Secondly, you then examine reality, as in the experience that actually happened, compared to the expectation you held. And again, you do it the same way. Did I get the usual response? Did I get an unusual one? Or am I not aware of what response was made at all? You have 3 key choices there, and you'll go through all 7. And once you've done that, you'll be presented a map of your choices between expectation and experience. And you'll be asked to click in one of the radio buttons those diagonal connections that indicate where you're most likely upset. And you'll choose one of those, and that will be your hot diagonal quadrant. And working with the hot quadrant, let's, for example, an agreement. You might have desired a change in agreement, or you wanted to be able to change the promise that you made because you can't keep it. You might want no change in promises made to you, or no change in promises you have made because you want to carry out the promise. You might get someone presenting an agreement change, breaking a promise, or asking for it to be changed. And you might get someone who keeps the promise, or you're able to keep the promise. These are all the different aspects, and you can see now how change features in this. So you can resolve an unmet expectation of change by taking action to engage the issue. In this particular case, it would be agreement, so you'll need to talk with each other. You'll need to talk about the benefits and costs, persuade. Very hard not to enter into alternatives as well. Each of the other expectations can help you manage the hot quadrant by giving you options with which to negotiate or find new ways through to handle change. And of course, when you can't bring change, you then are challenged to adjust your expectation to find resolution. And that's what happens. Check out your OK factors, the being OK, feeling OK and doing OK, just to see where your values are working in terms of the important and urgent. Being OK, your sense of who you are. Feeling OK, feelings of mind and body. And you'll notice that feelings overlap the doing or the outside story and the feeling or inside story. Being OK and doing OK are quite different. The strategy option mix. Usually with change, you look at those things you can change outwardly. You change what you're thinking to allow for what you can't do. And if the cost outweighs the benefit of your engagement of change around this, or trying to create change or adjust to change, in other words, if your values are more important to you, you may have to withdraw or call a no deal. If you'd like help with an issue, come along to my website and I'll see if I can help you manage change.